think the main takeaway would be, don't think about having disability or having a lived experience of disability to be limiting. It sets you apart in your own unique way.
Welcome to Stay Legendary, a podcast about showing up, being kind, and doing the work that matters. Enjoy, Legends.
So maybe you can just start off and give us a little bit of an intro.
Right out of uni, actually I remember taking my course. I went to Monash, shout out Monash. And as I was completing it, there was this time where I was really existential at this point in my life. And I did an internship at a PR company, so public relations. And what they had me do was go on Instagram, reach out to influencers, and track how many people liked their campaigns that they were doing, that the company was hiring them for. And then I think just after that, it made me realize kind of how vapid marketing could be if you're not marketing the right service or the right good.
Right.
And from there, I was questioning my life choices. And so I was like, what am I doing marketing for? Is this really all that I can be doing? Like, to just tell people to buy these planners or to tell people to buy this paint, because those were the clients that the PR company had. To the point where I went to my professor and I was like, Professor, it's so vain, it's so shallow, like, what do I do? And he was so not helpful. He was like, just go home and do your assignment, get your degree, and go get a job. Like, I think that was a missed opportunity. That was a missed teachable moment on his part. He could have said, find something that really fulfills you. That was my question that I needed answering right after uni. So I completed the course, and then out of uni, I was really questioning, how can I make my life fulfilling in marketing? I have this degree, I need to make money. What do I do about that? What I did, I thought about what made me different. And something I was kind of battling throughout my childhood was, having two siblings on the autism spectrum. So to me, when I was growing up, I'm like, oh man, like, I can't go to this birthday party because my mom will say no because she has to take care of my brother and my sister who are on the autism spectrum. Or I once thought that was limiting, but then after uni, that kind of set my experience apart from everyone else.
Yeah.
And I thought, my experience and lived experience with having siblings with disabilities and seeing how my mom handled that, it gives me a really unique kind of insight to how that world works, and seeing my mom navigate the NDIS and going to her LAC and then asking what the heck an NDIS plan actually is and how that can help people.
Yeah.
So I took that and ran with it, and I kept on applying to NDIS support providers. One of the first ones was a support coordination agency as well, just like Nolastray. And I think I did my interview. It came so naturally because when your values aligned, everything else kind of follows.
Yeah.
And our values were aligned from the start. We want to help people. We want to get the service out to the masses or people who need it. So here I am. I kind of just turned what I thought was a limit, I turned that into my superpower. The things that I really was looking for was something that made me fulfilled, something that I could actually use my skills that I've acquired into my new job.
Yeah, because you have like a unique vantage point where it's not a vantage point that's one that's theoretical, like you read it from a textbook or someone told you about it from their experience. It's not only seeing what supports that your siblings might have needed, but then what supports your mum as a carer would have needed, and how everything has like a cascading effect, and how there needs to be this expansive support system. It's not just about the primary individual at the center. Yeah, exactly. And also how my mom is now a support worker, and I also have a support client as well. It's really broadened your horizons, and it opens your eyes to how the NDIS can actually help people when it's done correctly. I think the main takeaway would be, don't think about having disability or having a lived experience of disability to be limiting. It sets you apart in your own unique way. Yeah, totally. And I think it's not just a blanket lived experience thing. It's like everyone's lived experience is unique in and of itself. What year did you start off doing marketing in the disability space?
So I graduated during the global pandemonium, 2020.
So, okay, 2020 versus 2026 now. What are some differences that you've noticed doing marketing in the NDIS space? Because I know I started in the NDIS space in 2020 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as a coordinator, huge difference. Like navigating the system and everything, there is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I'm curious from a marketing standpoint if you've noticed some variance over the last 5 years.
Over the last 5 years, I think the biggest difference would be the move towards face-to-face rather than online. Although people do still really like doing seminars and like expos and meet and greets online. Mm-hmm. Back at my first company, we did an online webinar where they would teach people how to use their NDIS plans. But nowadays, I think there's a gradual move towards face-to-face events. Mm-hmm. In terms of expos, that's another discussion based on our recent findings. But in terms of like really like low-key events, those are really popping up. I see them a lot on social media that people are really pushing their afternoon teas or their picnics or just like a little get together and community. They need that human connection.
Yeah.
So I guess even just socially, people trust people. And even in disability, word of mouth is huge, has always been. Even from my very first job, word of mouth was how we got 90% of our referrals as well.
Yeah.
And especially how we're in such a sensitive kind of sector as well. Yeah. We're dealing with people's lives and people's vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Trust-based. What would you say are the biggest differences in your approach to marketing being in the disability space versus
other areas? I think it really comes down to your values. If you are the type of person to go into like fashion and then that's really your passion, go and pursue it. Yeah. But if you are somebody who wants to make a positive difference in the community and want to work towards, I want to say a greater good, although I'm not on the front lines, I'm kind of more support in that sense. But the company or the organization that you'll be working with, what is their value and how does that align with your own?
Yeah.
So I think it just comes back to basics and looks at what you think is actually important in terms of your own values.
Yeah. I remember when I was moving out of prosthetic orthotic space and like you were talking about your kind of existential crisis. And I was having my existential crisis because I was like, oh my God, I spent 4 years, I got this degree, I had this whole kind of life mapped out and this career path, and now I've realized that it's not it for me in the long term.
Yeah.
What am I going to do and what can I use my qualifications for now? And one thing that kept coming up was sales, but more like pharmaceutical sales and medical sales and stuff like that. And I remember having a couple of meetings with different recruiters and stuff like that, and they were like, yeah, you'd be perfect for it. You have the vocabulary, you have the kind of social ability, this, that, and the third. So I technically on paper, I ticked all of the boxes, but I knew in my heart of hearts, like, I'm not salesy in that way. I can't sell something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I'm not a good liar. Mum knows
Hi,
this.
Mama.
I am not a good liar. It is written all over my face. And I just knew there were just things that if I didn't believe in the product that I was meant to be selling, and this is how I was meant to make my livelihood, this was going to kill me, or I was just going to burn out like super duper quick.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing because I've now realized that actually I'm good at sales. It's one of my skills because I realize sales is part of every single thing we do. You are selling. It doesn't have to be a product, like a tangible thing.
An idea.
Like,
Yeah.
It's selling someone on a belief system. It's selling someone on a message you're communicating. It's selling someone on perhaps like a lifestyle that they may be considering, and it's not forcibly doing it. It's being able to demonstrate to someone how this is going to benefit them based on the interests that they've already sort of expressed.
But even so, even if your values do align and what the vision and the mission of the actual company comes down to, I think the culture is also one thing that's super important. Yeah. Culture is huge. Yeah. And that's why at Nolastray, we're very tight-knit, I'd say, even though we're fully remote. Yeah. I literally live in Truganina, and then you're from Whoop Whoop East. And I think just like people's character and the culture as well as like leadership is super important.
So from a marketing perspective, if you were to then be kind of speaking to some businesses out there, maybe they're just starting out, they just have a small team, or they want to DIY some of their marketing until they can get to a point to have someone come in to do it. What are some of the top no-nos that you would tell them, like, avoid this at all costs? And then the key things to get them started.
I'd say let's work backwards. Top things that business owners should definitely get into, and it's super easy, is putting their own face to their brand. I know a lot of business owners don't want to do that. They're like, oh, we just want to be behind the scenes. You've got to get out there, people.
Yeah.
You've got to get out there.
That was me.
Yeah. Thank you, Dima. Now she's like the star of all of her socials.
Oh, man. That was definitely me.
Pick up the camera, talk to the audience.
Yeah.
People trust a face. It's really easy to do, but I understand how some business owners just don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
A no-no would be avoid the camera, I guess. Just keeping everything text heavy. There is value in doing that, because just depending on what you are marketing and what you're putting on your graphics or your social media, text-based, there's space for it.
And I think it's also knowing your strengths, because for me, I don't enjoy just picking up, Dan, you know this, I don't enjoy just picking up the camera and talking to it myself. And I'm also not good with scripted stuff. And so even like us having this conversation, I was like, oh, we're having a conversation. It's chatty. It's not going to be something where we've got to tick these boxes throughout. Whatever the content that you want to put out there is, figure out what you're most comfortable with to begin with, so you at least have the lowest barrier to entry to sort of get the reps in, to get a little bit more comfy with it. I was definitely the same at the beginning, because at the first year and a bit of, I'd say year and a half of Nolastray, like there wasn't ever any content. And my whole thing was, it's Nolastray, it's not Dima. Like, no one needs to know it's me behind the scenes. And then I realize now that I still feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Because you also don't want the brand to only be attached to you. But then I think it's then being able to, over time, have your brand evolve, where every single person, every change in the business is like a building block to the DNA as it keeps evolving. As opposed to it being like a rigid, it's only me, and everyone that I hire has curly hair and speaks like me and looks like me and does the job the exact same way as me. That's not going to be the case either. So I think that would be, from my perspective.
I get that.
And you also, like, when you're getting into the space in the business, you're doing it because you're like, oh, I'm probably good at coordination, or I'm good at plan management, or I'm good at whatever your strength is. And so then by default, a lot of the time it's very easy for us to say, so I'm not good at all of these other things. But the reality is, at the beginning, you are everything for your business. You are your bookkeeper, you are your marketer, the person actually doing the work. So you have to get comfortable enough with it to begin with. So as you start having people come in with the genius that you want them to bring in, you're then also able to clearly communicate the message that you want conveyed, or how you like for things to be done. For me, the whole time I've had you, but in the background, I'm always learning about marketing. Like, I'm constantly learning about marketing, so that then I'm getting the most out of my conversations with you, and then I'm also able to bring some ideas to the table as well.
I think also business owners need to understand that they will always be their biggest supporter, and their best advocate is from them, because this is their brainchild. But then along with that, they just need to find people who are experts in their own right and
relinquish control.
A little bit, like little by little. As long as you have a vision, and as long as that vision is crystal clear, everything else will grow from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also when you have people come in and then you over delegate from the rip without being clear about what the standard of excellence is, you are running a gigantic risk. Because now all of that growth could suddenly dissipate, and you could now just be trading in your previous workload for a different type of workload, which, number one, is going to be, naturally, I learned this myself, where you'll bring someone in and you're like, oh my God, it's going to be so helpful to have people take on some of my caseload and this, that, and the third. And now you've just shifted some of that participant client-based work to now employee management work, right? So there's that. But then also the other side of it is, if you don't have some quality control or systems in place to manage that when you have people taking over, you could now be just trading in your workload to like manage complaints. And so you have to be super clear about things in delegating. And I think that sometimes where things go awry where there's miscommunicated expectations. And business owners, you're not going to like me for saying this, but 99% of it comes down to you. It is your leadership. It always comes down to you. You can't blame anyone else for it. And I just realized that there was, like, when there's something you need to communicate, whether it's marketing your own business, your own services, or if you just have an important message, I then started realizing, well, any opportunity that came my way was me blocking myself from a learning experience or developing a skill. And just because you don't enjoy it or because you're not good at it, you're never going to be good at something you haven't done before. And so you just need to get enough reps in doing that thing to start to feel comfortable with it. And so it was even things as simple as doing team meetings, like chairing internal team meetings. But also you just get comfortable as you get more confident in what you're speaking about. You're more confident about the person who's the center of this conversation. It just comes naturally. And I always say this, but if it's something that I believe in or I know I need to do, I will do it, even if I'm shaking in my boots. Like, I will do it.
Scared.
Yeah.
Do it scared, do it intimidated.
Totally.
You just have to show up,
Yeah.
I reckon. And also, sometimes people forget, so you don't lack the ability, you lack the audacity. You never know unless you try and you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it also comes with, I think, rejection therapy is how they call it, is they actively seek rejection, because if you're looking for rejection, another outcome from that, it won't scare you anymore. So if you're actively looking for rejection, I reckon that's a good therapy thing.
Oh, it is. Like, even if you're doing sales, even if you're trying to have conversations to get a referral or something like that, seek out the no's. Because if you seek out as many no's at the beginning, it's going to teach you what not to do next time. And that's usually a faster learning curve than just like having a win from the rip, because then you'll sometimes have like this false sense of confidence where perhaps that was just an easy one. There was less rejection or objections involved. And so then you'll have like a false sense of security going into other ones that may be more challenging. And it's much harder to fall from like a higher point of confidence. And so if you just start off with being sucky and knowing you're going to suck at it for the first X amount of times, and you're going to have people tell you no for that X amount of times, that makes it so much easier to refine your approach and refine your own unique style in doing it, to then start landing those yeses more consistently and actually be systematic about it.
Yeah. You know what makes my job easy as a marketing specialist is to have a very charismatic leader. So charisma is like the marriage of having the ability as well as warmth, like having the marriage of those two. And so since Dima, you can tell that she's like, you're a really good speaker, but also you have this wealth of knowledge in prosthetics, but also being a specialist support coordinator in the NDIS. You have that. So marrying the two together, being charismatic, it's easy for you to take that and then just make all these different connections within the community, and then therefore what comes out of that is like new connections, new referrals as well, and new business for the company.
I totally get that. And it's like you said before, it's 90% is word of mouth referrals, and that's been my experience too. If you just have a few meaningful conversations, I know that when I've been to some events, there'll be some repeat offenders that have the same approach when they go to events, whether they're like mini expos or they could be like morning tea things hosted by a particular provider or what have you. But there'll be people that'll just be circling around the room and giving out their flyers and their business card and like, this is it.
I've seen that in action.
Yeah. And it's you are not memorable. You are not memorable at all. And if you're doing that to support coordinators, I can guarantee you 99% of the time that is going in the bin. If you are cold emailing, that is also going into junk. So, yes, question. If you had to grow a provider from scratch in 30 days, what would your strategy or game plan be?
It depends on what kind of budget we're working with. If we're trying to keep it on a shoelace budget, exhaust everything that's free. Put yourself where all your other competitors are. Look at where your competitors are, and you should also be there to compete. So there are a lot of search engines that a lot of support providers put themselves on. I think Clickability, Kismet, all the ones where you're able to show up alongside your competitors. Put yourself on there. It's worth to put your face next to your competitors, just so people can have a broadened sense of choice. Also, social media, very easy to set up, The big kahunas are Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, not so much for referrals directly or participants, NDIS participants, more so for the audience of co-support providers. As a support provider, a support coordination agency, naturally we're going to work with different allied health specialists, different like SDA if our participants are looking for that, like accommodation, SIL, support workers. Think about all the different audiences that you want to serve. In terms of bringing it back to all the free stuff, search engines, set yourself up on Google. Google is not dead. Google is still very much alive. Yeah. Have a website as well. Sometimes you can set up a domain for very low cost for the year and then just renew it every year, your license. And from there, just really start with your own phone and create content. Canva can be free. Am I giving away the trade secrets? Yeah. But yeah, just look at all the things that you can achieve with a very small budget at first. Yeah. In 30 days, you really only need one client to start. One client, get their testimonial, create trust, and then from there, naturally, they would have, hopefully, other people within their community that they can recommend you to.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because, like, we've never done any paid advertising ourselves. And so there's definitely a way to get yourself out there. I would also say maybe be clear on what your brand is, what you want to be known for, so that then you have some consistency, what it is you're posting, so that you're not always winging it and you're not always copying like from different people's styles, and then it doesn't really
match.
Yeah,
it's not cohesive.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that for sure. But then LinkedIn, I think, is really high leverage if you know how to use it. And this is coming from someone who, like, I don't like using it, guys. I don't enjoy social media like that. I'm not going to say I force myself, but I have met some amazing people that have now actually become friends. And so it's a really good way of being able to, again, express and communicate what your unique skill set is and be able to demonstrate that and have your accolades there without them being constantly thrown in people's faces. I definitely prefer to be a bit more positive and upbeat with my LinkedIn usage. Yep. It can be difficult at times in this sector and in this space, but just have a clear agenda. And if you're connecting with people, like, genuinely connect with people. Don't just connect with someone on LinkedIn and then not message them. There's no point having a bunch of connections if they don't know you from a can of paint and if you don't know them. And so there have been times that I've connected with someone just by I just messaged them and be like, oh my God, I love your photo so much. Like, there was someone, she just had such a beautiful, like, contagious smile. It's like, you know, some people, you can kind of just trust their face. And it was just like, I don't know, it was something about her, and we had connected. And then we just had a conversation, and it was like way down in the conversation. It was like, oh wait, you guys do support coordination? Actually, I'm looking for a blah, blah, blah. And so it's about building that human trust. And the reality is a lot of referrals end up coming from professionals because, again, it's trust. And so majority of the referrals are going to come from people. They're word of mouth. And so LinkedIn is really great for that. I would say less so on the LinkedIn business page side of things, more so on your personal LinkedIn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think also that comes with just having a face.
Yeah.
Really. Just having a face attached to the name.
Yeah.
I get a sense that people trust that more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you can't trust, like, corporations or organizations. It just adds an extra layer of credibility when the face is there.
Yeah. It can be your operations manager. It could be your service coordinator. It could be whoever else. But it's having faces. It's also having photos. It's if you guys are doing, like, team events and team catch-ups, having photos of you guys all together. So it shows that there's a human side to the organization. And it's not just a bunch of words on a website and a bunch of values on a wall, you know?
Yeah, but you need to have a digital footprint of some kind.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a really simple Squarespace website that's from a template, that's straight from the template. Just have something where people can pinpoint and kind of search you up. And if ever they are recommending you to someone else, they have something to show them on their phone and be like, oh, this is what they do. Yeah. Have a look at their Insta, have a look at LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a place to have as your own where you show off what your company does.
Yeah,
totally.
All right, so I guess then, from working with Nolastray, what would you say has been the kind of standout, the biggest difference you've noticed in comparison to your past sort of experiences or just like different workplace environments?
Number one, definitely culture. Culture is so important, people. Everyone who is out there, culture is super important. And also the leadership too. I'm not just saying this because Dima's right here, but it's really important to have a really caring and understanding leader. Because, we're just really people. We're just trying to work and exist in the world and take everything day by day. But we're like humans as well. So it's really great to have a really good leader who not only can guide the team, but also understand when you're not at your best. It really comes down to having a really good leader. And also culture, because since we are 100% remote, it doesn't mean that culture can't exist. Good culture can't be there. By way of just having a really simple group chat that you can send memes on. Dima is definitely a meme fiend.
Yep.
Just to check in and say good morning.
Yeah.
It really does go a long way, not only in terms of rapport and building rapport, but just like overall motivation and overall mood.
Yeah.
And that would feed into you being productive for the day. So number one thing would definitely be culture. And I've found that it's quite common to have good culture in organizations that work within the disability space, I guess for my own experience. Yeah. I think because, we all realize just being in such close proximity to people who live very different lives to us, who are fully able-bodied, we have all of our limbs, Dima and I, it's so easy to get the perspective that it could definitely be 100 times worse. Count your blessings where you can. And just having that at the forefront, really, I think it shapes Nolastray as how it is now.
Yeah, that was so big to me because I knew as soon as it was going to grow beyond me, I wanted to make sure that people felt that they belonged. You come as you are. And that doesn't mean bring your bad attitude. It just means come as you are, be yourself. And it's a safe space. It's a non-negotiable. We're always going to be striving for excellence. I'm very competitive with myself. So like every audit we've smashed, the next one's like, somehow we're going to make it better. We're going to level up next time. And that's what I'm always in pursuit of. But when I have a bad day, or if I have like a really just rubbish experience with speaking to a planner or whatever it is, I will put a message in the team chat like, hey guys, I just want to let you guys know so you don't feel gaslit. It's not you. It's just sometimes we are fighting the system and we can feel defeated. But I just want to let you know that everything you do is important. Like you just checking in on the participants, sending them a text message, being like, hey, how you going? Hey, how was your visit to blah, blah, blah the other day? Sometimes those are the little things that people are most missing out on in their lives. And so I like to do the same thing with the team where it's like, hey, I'm very transparent. I think that everyone brings value. Everyone can have a unique perspective, unique ideas. That could be something that could just like trigger a thought for me that could then turn into something awesome. And so I always just like to practice transparency so that everyone knows where they stand. There's less ambiguity. I think I'd experienced in past workplaces at times where you would not want the leader to join the meetings because they would make you so, like everyone would just be like so anxious, not because the leader was threatening, but because the leader themselves was anxious. And you were like, man, this is contagious. Please don't, we're already stressed as it is, like preparing for an audit or whatever it was. But your anxiety has now come onto us and now we need to recoup after this meeting so that we can actually get back to work. And I always make sure that I'm being real and transparent, but I also am very mindful and cognizant not to be like dumping on the team as well. And so it's a balancing act, but the culture for me is a non-negotiable. It's like a hill that I will die on because my whole ethos around it is when you have people that are working somewhere that they feel valued and appreciated and like they matter and what they do matters, they are going to show up differently when they're speaking to their clients.
I think we're also really blessed that we have really great people on the team to create that culture.
Yeah.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
It really does. And to be a village, you need to be a villager.
Yeah.
And so in the team chat, you're always seeing, like, you've got Marky, you've got Carrie saying this, and you've got, like, some random thing Jess has found on the internet, which is always really helpful. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah.
But we're so blessed to have really great people on the team.
Yeah. And the culture's just got to allow people to feel comfortable being themselves and sharing that gift and doing whatever and expressing their interest. And then people will naturally just find their own place and add their own unique value, you know. And so every single person that's joined the team, whether they're still with us or not, they have added to my evolution as a leader and have given me so much opportunity for growth in the way that I show up as well. And that's just inevitably helped the business evolve and grow, whether it's directly or indirectly. And so I take every single agonizing lesson and even the great wins as a blessing, because I often think about that and I'm like, if I was still working as an employee somewhere and I was looking for an opportunity to have exposure to all of the things that I've now had exposure to, it would take me 20, 30 years. And I've condensed it down to like 3 years, you know, and it's because I had to confront a lot of those challenges and I had no one else to turn to, and I had to be the business development manager and the marketer and the bookkeeper and everything for a period of time. And so I think that, just kind of confronting those challenging times and seeing them as an opportunity for growth. Like on the other side, there's going to be something good, and then you have wisdom to impart on others in the team as well when they're going through a tricky time.
Yeah.
To be able to kind of be like, hey, I get it. When that happened to me, this was sort of my approach. See if that helps you out, you know? So
I guess with that, what are your goals for the business, or even like personal, that you want to share for 2026?
I think for 2026, it has been like full on the last 3 years. I have poured every single shred of my energy into it. I'm going to just be more cognizant and mindful of the time, and just I'm always speaking about like health and well-being and looking after ourselves and being mindful of if you need to take a break and step away, like take the break, step away, go for a walk, get some vitamin D, get some sunshine. And so actually practicing what I preach more often. And then I think another thing is really learning to step back more.
Mm-hmm.
Because the times that I've done that have been the times that everyone in the team is capable. Everyone is capable, but we tend to defer to the comfort of knowing that it's not because it's not laziness. Sometimes it's like out of fear of messing up or screwing something up that we'll want to check first with, you know, someone else on the team, or check with me, or whatever it may be. But then that also is me limiting the team's growth.
Mm-hmm.
And ability for just greater learning experiences as well. So that's another goal for me, because my intuitive thing is like, if someone needs help, I'm constantly like, straight away, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to shift my focus and help you. But that disrupts my workflow, but then it's also disrupting their opportunities for growth as well. So those are two big ones for me from a sort of work standpoint. I think in terms of for the business, the goals for the business is definitely, I find systems very sexy. So systemizing everything, every single thing. And it's not that it's then rigid, but it gives the parameters and the frameworks for things. So again, there is that less dependency on me, because anything that exists here could disappear the moment that I disappear. And I don't want that to happen. My desire isn't for Nolastray to disappear when I do. And so I definitely focusing on the systems, the automations, and again, reducing as much of the admin for the coordinators, because that's a huge pain point. And so with systemizing things, that inevitably helps with that. And then I think in terms of my personal life, doing all of that is going to help me be able to shift my focus back a little bit more to my health and having a little bit more balance. And I love reading. I love being left alone and reading. So definitely just giving myself more time for that, more time for my exercise and all of those other things. So it's nothing really lofty. It's more so just kind of back to basics. But I don't see the last few years as anything negative. It's just you go through different seasons, and sometimes there's a season of like, it's grind time, you know, like you got to get to work. This is it. You are in your element. And I still have like I'll have periods where like for a couple of days it's like my witching hours, and I'll be like on fire, and I'm like, oh my god, I've done like 8,000 things that I had been putting off for so long. And life is kind of seasonal in that way as well. So it can be like on a smaller scale, like from a day-to-day basis, but it can also be from like year to year. And so I think I'm just kind of shifting slowly towards slowing down a little bit more as well. So yeah.
I reckon mine, when you said reading, I'm like, I know I can be a great reader. I just don't do it. But right now I'm reading You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero.
Oh,
I reckon you would really enjoy it.
Okay.
It talks about like getting rid of your limiting beliefs and accepting that you can make money and like to take on an abundance mindset instead of having a scarcity one.
Yeah.
And also letting yourself be successful.
Yeah.
Is one of the themes of that book.
Yeah.
So I think reading for me is definitely one of them. I want less screen time.
It's hard with your job.
No, exactly. That's what I was going to say. And I think I need to really find that balance of just not doom scrolling just for the sake of it. And also getting some sunshine in. I found that if you're getting morning sunshine at night, when it comes to around 9-10 p.m., I'm really sleepy. I'm like, yes, circadian rhythm is reset.
Circadian rhythm is huge. So actually, you should also be wearing these, Jenny, when you're on your screens because it's huge. Definitely, if you get the sunrise, I geek out on this stuff because it's our body knows exactly what it needs to do, and a lot of the time, modern lifestyle, we inhibit it itself from being able to do what it's already smart enough to get done for us. But seeing the morning sunrise, seeing the sunset, all of this like resets your internal clock. But yeah, the sunrise, it's unreal what it can do for your body. And it's like such a little thing. And just grounding, like being barefoot in the grass with the sunrise, mate, it's a simple thing. It's free.
Yeah.
You know, we all go to a gym and we buy all of the fanciest tech and this, that, and the third. And then you strip it all back and you're like, actually, I could have just like gone back to basics and all of the stuff that nature already has to offer us.
Exactly.
That I've been neglecting.
As my brother says, the world is his gym.
Just like test it out for 30 days and see how you go. Honestly, it makes a really, really big difference. But the reading is huge. I was always a bookworm. Like from when I was, again, it's funny because English, didn't like it.
Yeah.
But reading, love, but writing just wasn't my thing. But from when I was in primary school, I loved reading and I would just inhale books and I was constantly borrowing books at the library. And so recently, I don't know where I was, and I looked at a bookshelf and there was a book and I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. And it was a Saturday. I think it was just after the audit. So I was like kind of conked out. I was like, actually, I just need my brain to shut off for like 24 to 48 hours. And so I read the first chapter of this book, and then before I knew it, I hadn't had breakfast, I hadn't done anything. It was 6 hours gone, and I had finished this book. I was just sitting there completely like immersed in it, and I totally inhaled this book. And I was like, where's the next one? I need another one. Yeah.
It takes a lot of discipline to be a reader, I reckon.
Not if you enjoy it. If you are just reading like self-help kind of stuff, I can't really sit there and like be like, oh wow, amazing. I don't consume them in the same way. But if it's a particular topic that you're really interested in, be it fiction or non-fiction, if it's something that I'm interested in, if it's something that hooks me, that's it. You don't need to buy my attention anymore. Like you got me at the beginning, that's it. But yeah, kind of self-help books, I'm very specific about like what area do I want to develop and grow in, because I think you can also get caught in the trap with whether it's podcasts, YouTube videos, books, whatever it is that you're going to, whoever the thought leader is that you are listening to for that. If you just keep reading and learning and then not implementing, you're not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything.
You're just a consumer.
Yeah, and I was stuck in that for quite some time.
I've inherited maybe 200 self-help books from my brother.
Really?
Before he migrated to Canada. So from The Monk with a Ferrari by Robin Sharma.
Oh, yes, that's a great one.
To like The Alchemist, to the 4 love languages.
Yep,
my brother has given them unto me.
Yes.
And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to put my head down and read these books.
Yep.
And so what I've done, I had to choose. I'm like, whenever I have downtime, I either scroll on my phone or I could be reading. So what I did, I've entered 2026 without a personal Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
I've deleted it. And so I'm like, you know what? 2026 is the year that I'm going to be a reader.
That's awesome. Honestly, it makes a huge difference. I was off of Instagram for Yes, I was off of it.
It takes so much of your time.
It does, because it'll be a little thing where you'll be like, oh, just while I'm peeing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're peeing for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No one has a stream like that.
Yeah.
No one. And so you really, like, it compounds throughout the day. You just do that 4 times a day. There's gone your hour. You could have watched an hour of your favorite show. Like, so it's like little things that you can choose, and we are so, like, accustomed to now saying, like, but I don't have time. I'm so busy. But it's because we don't prioritize our time.
Yeah,
we
do have the time.
We do have the time, and it's just that we don't allocate it appropriately. And I think a lot of the time we're stuck in a sense of, like, escapism.
Yes.
And social media also kind of feeds into the scarcity mindset, because social media, what people are putting out on social media is curated. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it from, like, a business perspective and marketing. It is curated.
Yeah.
You are putting a very specific curated message, image, whatever it is out. And so then when you look at social media in terms of people, again, very curated. People aren't like, yeah, I just woke up this morning, beefed with my husband who's married. Why do we do this? You know, no one's doing that. No one's saying that. Like, oh man, have kids, big mistake. You know, like, no one says that. Yeah. And so you are constantly looking at someone's highlights and then comparing, and it's very damaging if you don't clock it for yourself. So I will sometimes follow people so that then that will redirect me to be like, oh yeah, I should go and watch that YouTube video that's 3 hours long where they were talking about this topic, which is something I actually want to learn about. So I'll follow people that are more health driven, like those pages, or again, whatever season of my life I'm in, I tweak my following. But I engage, and I think that was the biggest game changer for me, because beforehand, if I was following like just a bunch of influencer pages, you feel less inclined to really be like liking, commenting, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm following my friends, like people in my real life, this is where I think kind of social media has made us a bit creepy, because you'll see someone get married.
Yeah.
And if someone in your real life, like you bumped into them, someone from high school, and you bumped into them and they told you, oh yeah, like I just got married, or like this is my kid, or whatever, you wouldn't be like, oh cool, and then like walk away, you'd be like, congratulations, like, do you have photos? How was it? What else is going on? Like, you would actually engage and like celebrate that with a person. And I think now what people, it's almost given everyone permission to be a bit of a stalker.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and so people will be curious and be like, oh, I wonder where this person's at, and then they'll go and like make sure you don't accidentally like a photo. Why like their photo? And so I will now, if I find someone, and I've reconnected with people from high school, I reconnected with one of my best friends from when she ended up moving overseas when we were 14 years old, and I just reconnected with her last year, and it's like, oh my god, like I feel like a kid again. This is amazing. We've caught up so many times. Our mums have caught up again, and it's been like the most nourishing thing ever. And it was because when I think I followed her on Instagram, she followed me back. I didn't just leave it there. I messaged her and I was like, hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? And like, I will like your shit. I will like the hell out of it. I will comment on it. Your stories, I will do that. And so I think by default then it limits how many people I can follow, because I'm intentionally engaging. And so I think it's just like been a shift in my mindset when I'm on it. What's the purpose? And I know exactly what I'm doing. It's like I'm a ghost on Facebook, but I know when I go on Facebook, I'm on Marketplace.
Yeah,
so I'm looking for a specific thing. You know, I'm not on there like, ah, ha, ha, hee, hee, watching the reels on Facebook. So I'm very intentional with my use of it, and I know what my agenda is going into it. And I think it's the same thing with me now with Instagram. And that's why I'm not on TikTok, because
it's so addictive.
What is my agenda on there? I don't know.
You don't have to. It learns you.
Yeah, and it's kind of overwhelming, and then your attention is just spread across everything except for like rooted in reality. And I think that's so damaging.
It is super.
Yeah.
You know, I want to also say a shout out to, I think it's Margie, Mariz, Marianne. Yes, those are our top 3 most active. Yeah, Triple M. They are
Madame Marble. It's so cringe. Have you seen that?
No.
The Madame Marble turn it around Wicked Witch from
No.
Wicked. Oh my gosh.
Oh, no, I haven't seen Wicked. I can't.
I haven't seen Wicked either. I've only seen the marketing around it.
Oh yeah, that's why I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Because it's terrible.
Yeah, it's a bit too much, man.
So there are greatest supporters on our Nolastray Instagram, as well as Facebook, actually. So thank you for supporting, team.
Yeah, honestly, we love it. We should probably wrap up. I realize we have like a time cap. So we were just chatting.
Thanks for
See what I mean? Do the chatty stuff. If you know what you're good at, I'm good at chatting. Do the chatty stuff.
Do the chatty stuff. Put your face to your name. Pick up a camera.
It works. And have cool people to talk to.
Yeah. Aww. Okay, thanks everybody.
All right, bye.